Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to this edition of SportsView on nearmedia.tv. All the information is along the strip line there, the phone number and the email. And feel free to contact us anytime about anything. Press the red button on the right-hand side to subscribe to our channel, our YouTube channel. And all the programs are up on our YouTube channel. You'll find them all there. Good evening, John Loftus, and welcome.
Thank you very much, Pat.
Good evening, Joe Waters, and welcome.
Good evening, Pat. Evening, John.
I'm surrounded by Limerick, the green. It's appropriate that we should have a green background on the historic day that we're celebrating. The first Irishman to win the Masters, and indeed the first Irishman and only the sixth golfer to win the Grand Slam, and the Grand Slam is to win all the majors during your career. Now he joins the illustrious company of Bobby Jones, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, Ben Hogan, and Gary Player, Gene Sarazen, and now Rory McIlroy. It's an incredible. Now Bobby Jones won his before the Masters. Before the Masters was being played, it was only played in 1925, and Bobby Jones preceded the Masters. But anyway, it's an incredible amount of company for Rory McIlroy to be up there with. And for people who missed it, I don't think anybody missed it now, you know.
Go Terry!
Well, I mean, that was just sensational. That was there, Rory McIlroy. I mean, did you see any of it?
I saw, and we stayed up. Last night it was the early night. I watched it. He did his best to lose it.
He did.
The number of short putts he missed was unreal. And he had a similar one to win it, and eventually did.
Yeah, I was a bit apprehensive when he went to the playoff because he had 3 putts before that on different holes to make sure he had 2 shots ahead. But these things happen, you know. I mean, the emotion of the thing. I mean, particularly for him because every single year he was favoured to win it. Every year he's favoured to win it. But I think this will make him a better golfer and a more relaxed golfer now, you know. Now that the monkey's off his back, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see Joe last night?
I did. Well, it was the middle of the day for me, so it was I was fine. I wasn't sleep deprived this morning, so it was grand. But no, I mean, it was amazing to watch it. And you know, it's a funny thing. You know, you're talking about, and John just mentioned that a second ago about he did his best to throw it away. And his putter has let him down before in these tournaments, and you know, to overcome some of the things like he did on 13, and then those missed putts.
And the first one,
I was watching, and I just had a feeling as I was looking at the guys in front of him, and as they closed in on him, none of them were really making, other than Justin Rose.
Yeah.
None of them were really making any
progress. Yeah.
Inroads into him. They'd get close, but then they moved out of it and dropped. So they weren't getting any birdies and such in the finishing holes. And I just thought that was something that he could take advantage of.
Yeah, I thought Bryson DeChambeau was the only one in the field who could beat him, because he has a long game, but he imploded himself.
He did. He went sideways a bit, but I thought actually on the 18th that he was going to win it the first time.
Yeah.
And even when he put the ball in the bunker, I wasn't that concerned, because I really believed, and he's a good bunker player. He's a terrific bunker player.
He is.
He would put the ball dead.
Yes.
And he left the putt so far away that I went, oh no, he is doing his best to throw this away. And then when he missed that putt, that was the only time I yelled, and my wife said, "What's the matter with you?" She was outside. Done. And but then when it went to the playoff, I don't know what you lads thought, but when I saw that the 18th hole was the first hole in the playoff, I actually felt really confident that he was going to win it, because he played the 18th hole pretty well. He did a great drive on it, and then on this one, his second shot that he hit was absolutely
spot on.
And then Justin Rose had a difficult putt to make, and he was going to go first. So it was, I just had a good feeling about it at that stage.
And Justin Rose, for 44 years of age, which is not old, but I mean, for golf it is, he had a fantastic tournament. He had 10 birdies. Our golfing expert isn't here with us tonight. He had 10 birdies on that course, which is phenomenal, phenomenal for anyone.
Didn't he shoot 66 on the last day?
Yeah,
he did. Justin Rose shot 66. McIlroy shot a 73, and our own Shane Lowry shot an 81, and he finished in 42nd place, but he got $75,600 for his weekend. So and they're the best of buddies. So. For the Ryder Cup, you had Rose, you had McIlroy, and you had Lowry, of course, as well. You had a lot of the Europeans did very well in the top 20 or 30, so it did well, And
the guy A. Burke, who I never heard of before.
He really worried me when he came into the.
Well, Ludwig Åberg from Sweden, he's a fabulous golfer, and he had a very good Ryder Cup the last time. Luke Donald brought him into the Ryder Cup team, and he was very good. He's playing very well as well, The youthful exuberance stood him in, as I said, going for shots that you have to have patience, as they say. But I mean, it's an incredible. It's like the Republic of Ireland winning the World Cup in soccer. The achievement of Rory McIlroy, That's the achievement of Rory McIlroy in golfing terms, He was just.
And the support on the course for him. The Rory.
The support he has as a golfer in America and wherever he goes. I mean, he's a charismatic golfer. He's a great temperament, and we followed him always up my son when he played with Harrington and Lowry in the Irish Open in Cork, which was held down in Fota Island. I mean, he's just so aware and so friendly as well, to everybody. I mean, I couldn't see his ball I was standing behind the tee when he hit a ball, Even though I couldn't see where it was, just gone so far ahead, I said, no, where it's gone, I know it miles and miles. Can you imagine if you were paired with him in a tournament and you were 80 to 100 yards behind him in every second shot? It'd be intimidating enough, but anyway, that's our Rory. And during the week as well, then we had the European Cup is coming to its conclusion in soccer. I still call it the European Cup. It's called the European Champions League. Arsenal did Madrid and they won 3-0, and Bayern Munich lost at home to Milan 2-1. Barcelona beat Borussia Dortmund 4-0, and PSG beat Aston Villa 3-1. We have a new pundit in soccer, guys. A new pundit, Joy. Did you see him?
I've got to say we're absolutely delighted to be joined this evening. It was promising to be a fantastic night with His Royal Highness. Thanks very much for taking the time to join us. First of all, are you as nervous as we are?
I am, Ali. I'm pretty terrified. It's been a while coming, this, so it's a big game. 43 years since the last time this happened. A big European night for Villa. So I'm nervous, but I'm confident, but also excited by the whole prospect.
Well, I was going to say I did a little bit of homework. I think you were born just about a month. Would it be a month after the victory in Rotterdam? That's got to be a good omen.
Well, I hope so. We'll see. I'm wearing all my lucky clothes and bits and pieces and done on my routine, so I'm hoping that it's going to bring some luck tonight.
I think you look well, to be honest. You definitely passed the test in the fashion stakes today.
Thanks, Rick.
And if he says that's a plus.
But what are you expecting from the team? Because we know you're an avid watcher of the team. You support them. We've seen the pictures of you at the stadium. You're watching them in the Champions League this year. What are you really expecting from your team? What do you want out of this first leg?
So I think we all saw the Liverpool game and PSG's intensity. I mean, in the first leg, they were unbelievable. They gave a lot of pressure. They pressed very high. And so I think for Unai tonight and the team, it's about managing that press. Unai likes it when their teams come onto them, play quite high press. But obviously there's a limit, and that, can we get round the press? Can we beat it? So I'm thinking long ball a bit. I'm thinking also how they're going to get round the high press. So it's going to be a challenging night, and I'm looking forward to the tactics that Unai is going to have to employ.
Can I just say something? Do not go for a punditry job, please, because I could be out of the game. The way you just dissected that, I'm going to nick that for later on.
You're just doing it. The one thing I would say to you is, and I'm not trying to scare you at all, I thought PSG against Liverpool, I know the irony is they actually lost the game, but I thought it was the best performance I've seen from them in a long, long time. And I think the one thing about PSG this year, they look a proper team. And I think that might be the difference.
I think you're spot on, Ali. Obviously, I think not having Mbappe there, I think it's been, the PSG guys have talked about that quite a bit, I think, in the media around not having the superstars, maybe makes it a bit more of a gel. And I think the way they played, they're a young team, and I've been really impressed watching how they played against Liverpool. And I think Vitinha in the midfield, I've been really impressed by. Bear in mind, he was at Wolves 2-3 years ago, maybe,
amazing. And
he could hardly get a game, and now look at him, and it shows you, really, both you know this better than I do. A couple of years in development terms, massive, and given the opportunity and backed by the right manager, you go places. And so I do think Villa can cause enough trouble tonight, and if we get our game plan right, we'll give PSG a really hard time.
Talking of managers, Unai Emery, your manager, I think he's done a sterling job since he's come into Aston Villa. What do you make of him as a manager, and do you have much to do with him in terms of managing your club?
Well, first of all, I think I speak for most Villa fans in saying we're so thrilled and really lucky to have a manager of Unai's quality. As a person, he's an absolute gentleman, lovely guy, runs the club and looks after the players in a way that you'd want all your players and team to be looked after. He's an absolute tactician. I mean, I try when I get the odd chance to talk to him to try and take some nuggets of information from him, but he's very guarded in what he says and how he does stuff. But I'll give you an example. I went up and watched training once, and I've seen a few managers now come and go through the Villa system and obviously through the England system. What Unai was doing, he was moving players on the pitch about a centimetre left and right. He was actually there with his arms around their shoulders.
Yeah,
and he was moving them in spot. And I thought, that's a man who cares about the little details. And it rubs off on the players because they're like, if he cares about that detail, I've got to move because he'll know if I haven't. And I think he injects a real sense of confidence in the whole team.
What about the atmosphere tonight? You've been lucky. We've been here.
No, that's a very long piece of punditry, but I thought he was fantastic and clear in his a lot better than an awful lot of the professional pundits. John, what do you think of it?
I'm not told by it. I didn't believe those guys would know anything about modern life. Brilliant. He was absolute. I mean, and this was no bluff. This was real.
This is
look at the expression in his face. He really knows what he's about.
Joe, what do you think of him?
Oh, I mean, he's a huge football fan.
Yeah.
He obviously knows a good bit about it because he's broken that down there. As good as you could do it, to be fair. He was absolutely right. If Villa could break the press from PSG, then they would have a chance, but they were never able to do that on a consistent basis. So it proved to be a tough night for him, unfortunately.
I think it should give hope to the Villa fans that what Prince William was saying, that Unai will learn from the first leg. Well, he'll have no choice because they're 3-1 down, They're 3-1 down, which brings its own pressure to the game itself, And they'll be playing tomorrow night now. They'll be playing. But I think the performance from English club's point of view was the Arsenal performance against Real Madrid. I thought Real Madrid were very flat, not taking away from Arsenal, but two of their goals are from free kicks, and which from Declan Rice got their 2 goals from dead balls. But I'm just saying that Madrid looked very ordinary to me. I saw all that match. I thought they were very poor.
Yeah, to be honest, I did as well. And we talked about this last week after they lost the home match in the Bernabeu last week. And I really, to be honest, I anticipated a better reaction from Real Madrid than they produced against Arsenal. And it doesn't matter how the goals come, as long as you get them, And we talked last week about the home results being the ones that may be the most important. And right now for PSG and for Arsenal, that's the case for Barcelona.
Yeah, Barcelona.
And then actually the only one that was not an impressive home result was the Bayern Inter game.
Milan played very well in that match.
Yeah.
But I thought Mbappe should have been taken off. Madrid. He wasn't doing enough around the pitch, in my opinion.
Well, it's a bit like the lads talked about. There, Ali McCoy's talking about, and His Royal Highness talking also about PSG being more of a team and what have you. Well, Real Madrid now have got all these superstar guys playing, and who's doing the work in the trenches for it? Because it's all right having superstars on your team, but somebody somewhere has got to go out and get down in the mud. And
did you see the match?
Yeah,
true. Did you see the match, John, with Arsenal and Madrid?
I didn't. I missed that one.
Yeah, and Bellingham was absent as well, for a lot of the match.
Yeah, and there's not good things happening in the Real Madrid camp. I was reading this morning in the paper that Bellingham and one of his teammates had to be separated in training.
Yeah.
They had a set to in training. So not everything seems to be great in the Real Madrid camp. So that could augur well for Arsenal. But
in the Premiership over the weekend, there was wins from Man City, Everton, Villa, Arsenal drew, Liverpool and Wolves won as well, and the Arsenal, but Liverpool, I suppose the league is done injustice for a while. Well, I see that Salah and Van Dijk Salah has signed on for 2 more years, in Liverpool. I don't think he'd have got big money from someone except in from the Arabs over in Saudi Arabia would have given him bigger money than Liverpool. I don't think he wanted to go there yet. I think he has decided that he can play at top class in the Premiership for Liverpool. He's been a fantastic signing for Liverpool. There's no doubt about that. He's lit up the Premiership himself, Mo Salah, and I think that the fare served up by some of the other matches were pretty poor. I think Newcastle had a terrific win over Man United, 4-1. They were talking about their manager being in hospital, but people were speculating about how he's in hospital with pneumonia. That's what he's in hospital with, for people who may not have read about it. I was finding out myself what it was, Jonathan. It can be serious if you have other things wrong with you, but I think you get the best of looking after there. Now in the rugby front, we had the European Cup going on. It's down to the last 4 now. After the weekend, Munster had another trip to France, to the Bordeaux, with a terrific team. Bordeaux were the people I fancied in the start to win it out, or Toulouse. They play a terrific brand of rugby, but in saying that, Munster themselves, I think that there's 2 basic. I'm not an expert in rugby. There's 2 basic things in rugby: your line out and your scrum. And the rest of it is down to the individual player of the players in. They had no line out. I don't know who their line out coach was, They had no line out. They had no plan B when the line out was failing, when they were trying to limit the line out. I saw the match and they were just very poor.
A few throw-ins in the line out, going miles over the heads of anybody and going past the tail.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful stuff.
Just awful stuff, sorry.
Yeah, and they performed quite well in the line-out against Ronan O'Gara's crowd the previous week. So what went wrong? It was incredibly frustrating even to watch it, to have gone to Bordeaux to be in
well,
the
now they were beaten 47-29, and Leinster won Friday night 52-0 against Glasgow. I mean, Connacht were beaten in the Challenge Cup 43-40 by Racing 92, another French team. The semi-finals of the European Cup have been drawn, and Leinster are drawn against Northampton Saints, and Bordeaux are playing Toulouse in the other semi-final. That'll be some humdinger, Bordeaux and Toulouse, because, as we said before in this program, the number 1 sport in France is rugby. It's the number 1 sport in France, is rugby. And there's a lot of money behind it, and there are a lot of very, very good players as well, in France. So it's no surprise that they kept. I thought they might have kept the French teams apart because to make a terrific final, Bordeaux and Toulouse will be confined.
They had to beat as well, Pat.
Huh?
Leinster are going to be very, very.
Leinster have to beat Northampton. I think they'll beat Northampton. I think that'll be a Leinster-Toulouse final.
Yeah.
That'll be a terrific match to go to, to see them playing. And
Leinster are one of the very few teams now who can be missing 6 or 7 players, and it makes absolutely no difference. They've obviously got savage financial backing from somewhere, and they're able to keep these players.
Well, they seem to be able to buy to attract excellent players to their province,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of money behind them, so which you have to have money in the professional game anyway. And I don't know about Munster. They need Alan Sugar or someone like that. They need someone to come in with a big checkbook to revitalise the team, because
That's
they
very
don't.
good.
But
Huh?
Leinster have it on two fronts, though, don't they? Really, they have the biggest population source in the
They
country,
have, yeah. They have.
and they have all those private colleges up there that produce so
Yeah.
many players. So they've got the money, and they've got the youth development that
They have it. The
that
colleges as well.
with their
Colleges.
academies up there. So
Yeah.
they're getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And I really, I hear that in Munster, we're trying to do the same thing now. We're trying to stop, and I don't know what you think about this, John, but my brother told me when he was visiting in the summer that the schools now are trying to stop kids from playing club rugby and have them only play schools rugby, like they're doing in Leinster.
Okay.
But the problem is that from my standpoint, and where I'm looking at it, we don't have enough schools that are rugby, really schools in rugby areas that they can. I mean, I was up a few years ago. I was up in Clongowes Woods. Right,
Yeah.
I took a soccer team up there. Right, from here in the States to go and play,
Yeah.
and they had 19 rugby pitches and one soccer pitch.
Goodness me.
Yeah,
Yeah. I played there in my
that's the
time.
difference right there. For
There you
them,
go.
rugby and we had a soccer pitch over in the corner. So it was.
You're spot on, Joe. And I mean, I went many years ago. I went to Munster College, which then I was a day pupil in what was a boarding school.
Yeah.
And like again, a huge amount of the huge proportion of the boarders were from Leinster, from Dublin especially. I mean, Vinnie Becker, who went on to play for Ireland afterwards, he was in Munster College.
I remember Vinnie Becker, a good player.
And Seamus Tennyson from Field was on the same team. So we did decent. We got beaten by we got beaten by
Rockwell or Christians.
Barry McGann from Prez. Barry was the main man with them. And
Barry McGann.
Barry McGann, yeah.
I remember Barry McGann, yeah.
So that's my vintage as well. Barry was an incredible out half because I was full back, and if you went deep, he put it between you and the line, and if you he put it behind you. So it was.
Did Seamus Dennison play for the Munster team that beat the All Blacks?
He did. He was on that team.
He was the guy who laid down the marker. Very first of all, he absolutely doubled. What was your man's name? He creased him, and that was the marker. That was it.
He flattened him.
Flattened him, absolutely. Yeah.
Paul Laxton, yeah. We're here to win. There must have been about 2 million people at that match.
I can attest that there wasn't, because I was there. There wasn't that many people there, but there's certainly that many people that claimed.
Oh, they had a few hardy guys on that team, that Munster team,
But they had Munster team.
They had players who could play as well, as they say, But my selfish result over the weekend was a point gained by my team, Bristol City, whom I'm hoping to get promoted. They got a point over the weekend in the championship.
No, Pat would say that they support Bristol City, in fairness to you.
Yeah, and the Leeds are top of the championship on 88 points. Burnley have 88 points. Sheffield United have 83. Sunderland have 76. Bristol City have 64. Coventry City have 62. And West Brom have 60. Now, Bristol City are playing Sunderland next. You know, that's what the team I'll be watching. But I mean, they're outside of the automatic place. They won't make an automatic place, but I hope they make the playoffs anyway, you know.
The top three in the championship is an interesting race.
It is, yeah. Leeds, Burnley, and
Leeds had a couple of bad results. And
yeah,
now Sheffield United are having a couple of bad results.
Yeah. And there's 4
the
games
most consistent one seems to be Burnley right now.
Yeah. There are 4 games left in the championship. And in the Premiership you have Liverpool 76, Arsenal 63, Nottingham Forest on 57, and Newcastle on 56, Man City 55, and Chelsea on 54, and Aston Villa on 54. So it's going to be a tight squeeze. There's about most teams have 6 games left, some teams have 7 games left in the Premiership. There'll be a big scramble for the European places because that's a lot of money for clubs, you know, as we were saying before. And in Division 2, Joe, you have Port Vale on top at 76, Bradford City 73, Walsall on 72, Doncaster 71, Wimbledon on 69, Notts County 68, Grimsby on 66, and Colchester on 65. So it's very tight there as well. They have 4 games left as well. Southampton going to have a good chance of getting into the playoffs.
Hopefully they can pick up a couple of results at home. That, you know, if they could have won some home games, they would have.
Before we leave soccer, could Arsenal win the Champions League?
Yeah.
I fancy Barcelona.
Yeah, I picked PSG from the start. I have to stay with them.
To be honest, I think Barcelona are going to win it.
Yeah, they're looking.
I've been very impressed with them. I mean, I think Arsenal are good enough to win it. I think the only problem that they have, well, and this is a problem we've talked about all year, who's going to score the goals for them?
For who?
When you come up against the best teams, you know, in Europe and the final stages of it, when you're in the last 4 of it, it's going to be how are you going to score goals? And you're not always going to get them from free kicks, like worldly free kicks like they had during the week. You're going to have to score, you know, sometimes you're going to have to score sloppy goals, and they don't seem to have anybody that can score sloppy goals.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I think that could be their Achilles heel, Arsenal.
You know, that I wouldn't rule out Milan either, guys.
Well, you know what? And that's actually, John, a very good point, because defensively they are very, very tough.
Yeah.
Very, very tough.
I watched that game the other night, Joe, and they were absolutely dogged. And then when Bayern eventually scored, they changed tack and they attacked, and they scored one before the end. So it was an absolute sucker punch. So as per all the very good Italians, these guys are built so much on defence.
And Man United have only won 10 games so far in the league, and they've drawn 8. They have 38 points, and I think they're not making any progress under the new manager. You know, he has made no difference to Man United. You might say, would any manager make any difference? It would surely be the goodness. A new manager coming in would surely have made some difference to them, you know. I don't know.
Or maybe it's a statement on the players. Maybe it's just a statement on their players. Their players are just not good enough. I've been listening to Roy Keane take the part.
I know.
On a regular basis. And
you would think that the manager would be able to sort out some of the way they play, the way they set up, the way they play. That's all done in the training ground. We're led to believe with computers and statistics and all this. there has been no improvement since he came in my opinion. And there has to be a question mark over him. I'm not saying to get in another manager. I'm saying that. And then on the other hand, you look down the road at how has he a job in the Premiership? Postecoglou, whatever his name is, with Spurs. Again, there's another manager that's. I don't know. I mean, a team like there's money in the club.
It's interesting though, but I mean, if you watch the Spurs game yesterday against or Saturday, whatever day it was,
against Wolves,
they all run into one now for me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
If you watch the game 4-2 against Wolves, I mean, some of the defending was like shambolic. I mean, no disrespect, but you wouldn't see that in a junior pitch in Limerick. You know, guys losing the ball, they're favourite for the ball, and these are seasoned internationals running towards his own goal, and he loses the ball to a fella behind him. I mean, whatever happened to putting the ball in Rowe's head? You know what I mean? They're not going to score from up there.
No.
You know, I mean, at some point, you've got to stop beating yourself. And that's what Spurs are doing. They're beating themselves. And they're, you know, it's a bit like Man United yesterday. The goalkeeper again, trying to play out the back, trying to chip a ball. Instead of hitting the halfway line, he chips the ball, it gets intercepted with a header, and it's in the back of the net. If he was playing in the same team as me, and John, I don't know what you do, but I'd drown him in the freaking bathtub. After the game, doing something stupid.
Since Joe, I'm a sports supporter.
Oh yeah,
you are okay. My brother is a sports supporter.
About
So,
99, I decided they weren't playing that great, but I decided, okay, I had 3 boys, and because of me, they all grew up being sports supporters.
yeah.
So, I was taking them off to White Hart Lane. I picked a match. Sheffield Wednesday had won no game whatsoever. Sheffield Wednesday game.
Yeah.
Off we go, and we totally dominated the game. Absolutely did everything except score. French guy whose name escaped me for the moment, with the long hair.
Ginola?
Ginola hit the bar, hit the post, and we did everything except score. And then with about 4 or 5 minutes to go, the one and only attack that Wednesday had, a Swedish guy, something like Gun Johnson, 6 to 1 in the net. Jesus. So that was
were you looking for the craze to sort it out? The West End.
That was a good sports team.
Spurs are, but they're habitual losers. Look at the players.
Did you not play with Spurs one time, Joe Kinnear?
Yeah.
He did, yeah.
Did he play for Spurs?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
He did, yeah.
Players they've let go, Joe, along the way.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you look at some of those, even Gareth Bale go at his height. This was so many that they left off, and they're just you can't depend on them in relation to anything. They're playing anyone. You can never say for definite that's a Spurs banker. There is no such thing.
Okay, guys. We've 2 matches tomorrow night. Now we have Villa and PSG, and Dortmund and Barcelona. But it'll be easy call to Barcelona when they're 4-0 ahead. We probably say they'll win that. PSG and Aston Villa 3-1. The 2 goals aren't as bad as being 4 goals behind. You know, they have a chance, have they, Villa?
Oh, I mean, I think you always have a chance when you're at home. You know, I mean, a 3-1 lead is a pretty tough one to overcome. But
Villa will have to score early and score first.
and that's the thing with it,
Yeah.
you've got to, and it depends on how Villa approach it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they try to play cat and mouse and not go for it from the start, then I think they're going to be in trouble. But I think it's got the makings of an interesting game.
Yeah.
Just by the scoreline, because it's just within reach. You feel if you score one goal, you've got a chance.
Yeah.
And now you're right back in it, and then that gets the fans will be wound up anyway.
So we say Barcelona will go through against Dortmund, and probably PSG are favourites to go through as well.
I would say that probably is.
Yeah.
If I was
And
a betting man, that's.
I would say that Villa need to score early.
Yeah, well, and Wednesday night then you have Milan against Munich. They're 2-1 up, playing at home. Munich are not out of it yet. Bayern Munich.
No, they're not. But I think they're going to be twice as hard to beat there.
Yeah, Milan are hard to beat at home, and the final match on Wednesday night is the Madrid Arsenal game. Well, Madrid will go out all guns blazing. They're going to lose.
I would imagine that they would.
But you can't. I can't see Madrid winning 4-0.
No, to be honest, I
might be eating my words next Monday.
Yeah, right. No, to be honest, no, I can't see him winning 4-0. I can see him winning 5.
Oh,
4, definitely not. No.
Yeah. If they score again early, if Madrid have an early goal, the doubts creep in then. And Arsenal have had a mixed season if you look at a lot of their results in the Premier League.
They have won nothing with the manager. Have they won anything with him? With Arteta, has he won anything with him?
Did he win the FA Cup or the League Cup with him?
Yeah, maybe he did. Anyway,
being a sportsman, I'm no expert in Arsenal.
Yeah.
You have no time for them anyway, right?
That's honest. Next weekend, John, we have our own All-Ireland Hurling Championship opening up next weekend. We have Limerick. JP McManus run Limerick team. Tally out against Tipperary in the Gaelic grounds. And you have my own team.
Is that envy? Is that envy I hear from you?
That's
the JP McManus financed Limerick team. Is that what it is? No, if he was a Cork man, you'd be canonizing him as a saint.
He had his own barge on the River Lee. He could do what he liked there. His own boat. But
the match is in Thurles, Pat.
Thurles, I beg your pardon. And Cork are playing Clare in Innis.
Yeah.
And there isn't a smell of a ticket because the capacity is too small, really, for a game of that importance, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
They're trying to promote the game of hurling. If that was, I was above at the league final with Cork and Tip. There's 43,000 people at it. 43,263. There won't be half that amount of people at the match between Cork and Tip simply because the ground is too small.
Yeah. 21,000 or 22,000 is their capacity.
That's it, yeah, half the amount of there. Anyway, anybody watching this program, I'm still looking for a ticket anywhere, even up the telephone pole just outside it. If you have a ladder, I'll pay to go up the ladder at that telephone pole to looking at it. But Clare, how do you see that match faring out, John? Cork and Clare?
It could go either way. It's an incredible game in that it's a game Clare, if they have any ambition this year, because a week later they go to Waterford. And if you remember, Waterford were put out by Clare last year with that last minute 65, which was taken from completely the wrong place and so on and so forth. There was major,
Yeah, yeah,
and that knocked Waterford out of the championship.
yeah,
So they
yeah.
go down to Waterford a week after. If they lose to Cork, and 7 days later they have to play Waterford down in Walsh Park, Clare's All Ireland could be
Shocked.
waving by at that stage. So they have to perform against Cork. Now they
No, Limerick, as you know, only won half their games in the league. They're playing Tipperary down in Thurles. Tipperary, I think, got a big shock against Cork in the league final because they thought they were further down the field of development than they were. You know, there was a lot of weaknesses shown up on that day.
Yeah.
I don't know yourself, but I thought they were, God, my God, I thought they were very, very poor, you know.
They were very, very poor. And again, while Limerick didn't ever at any stage show any desire or intention of winning the league, they beat Tipperary, which
Yeah, they
was
did.
a marker in itself. And not only that, their record against Tipperary is massive. Tipperary have not beaten Limerick since God knows when.
Yeah.
The last time they beat us in a Munster Championship match was in the round robin of 2019, and we hammered them in the Munster final afterwards in the Gaelic grounds
That's
by
right.
13 or 14 points. So last year, when the injury happened to Peter Casey, Limerick were on their way at that stage to inflict an incredible beating on Tipperary, but the awful sight of Peter Casey with his leg broken and forever was it put Limerick off. Next 10 minutes they didn't perform at all, and it took young Adam English when he came on. He scored 4 points in a row,
He
and
did.
Limerick won by 15 points or whatever. But it could have been really nasty. It could have been well into the 20s.
Well, Tipperary are not taking a lot of bad beatings. I mean, last year Cork gave them an awful beating.
Correct.
I mean, really, it took them till this year to recover.
But they took an awful beating in the league final as well.
It did, yeah.
Was
How
it
many? So what? So call the 2 matches, John. I'd be biased against Clare, like, because I'm from Cork.
Yeah. I could see Clare and Cork being a draw. No, that's
But
not in defence, but it's going to be that tight. Clare.
I take that. I take that because Clare are All Ireland champions, and they've been relegated in the league. They've been relegated to 1B.
So
I saw the 1B final, Offaly and Waterford. It was very, very poor fare, standard wise. You know, I fear for Waterford this year.
yeah, you could, but again, Waterford played well. What Waterford did that day was take the foot off the gas, and Offaly nearly got them.
They were 14. They were 14 points ahead, and they won by 3.
Yeah, absolutely. It was.
I was in and out. I was in and out to the shop, and I came back in, and then Offaly all of a sudden were only 5 points behind.
Yeah,
I mean,
you'd have had a penalty.
Yeah. They were absolutely, they were denied a stone cold penalty.
Absolutely.
I mean, the two umpires should have gone to Specsavers after the match because they was being stone blind, you know.
Yeah, and I think
Anyway,
Tipperary.
Joe, you have a lot of hurling next week, Joe. Do you get the hurling over there?
I get it on GA Go.
Oh yeah.
If
they'll be all on.
They'll
be all on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting, I think.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with John. You know, I'm kind of in that kind of camp that Clare at home are a very, very different team.
Well, they did take a bad beating from Cork in the league.
They did, but that's different. That's different.
You know?
There won't be any.
You know what, though? I mean, we look at Limerick, you know, the last few years, and for the first 2 or 3 years that they were winning the All Ireland, Limerick weren't taking any notice of the league.
No,
They were
except the problem with that is
through
the
that.
problem with that now. Clare and Wexford are gone down to 1B. That'll be the problem for Clare next year when we come to the championship. They're playing teams who are not in the same standard as them at all. There'll be nobody at the matches. There'll be no atmosphere, you know.
And not only that, Pat, the danger with that is trying out a new young fella, let's just say.
Yeah.
And he does extremely well against Westmeath or Carlow or somebody like that, scores 3 goals, and all of a sudden he's part of the team or thereabouts. And that's he falls, you know.
But I mean, it works the other way as well, though. I mean, if these young fellas come through, I mean, look at what Cork were doing.
100%.
Cork were there a few years ago. They weren't winning the senior All Ireland, but they were winning underage All Ireland.
They were the minors are going well this year. The minors beat well.
And so now those young lads are starting to come through into the main Cork team, and they're beginning to show. Just like happened with Limerick, with the young fellas that we got come through, and you know now our lads are kind of getting on the. I wouldn't say they're at the end of it, but they're a little bit longer in the tooth than they were, and Cork are playing like Limerick used to play, on the front foot and great pace, and they've got goal scorers, they've got point scorers, so it's going to be very interesting to see it. I think, honestly, Cork might be very hard to stop this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be difficult.
2004, John Connery. 2004, John Connery. 2004, John Connery, Martin Creagley.
That's my fault. That's.
Did you see that? That's actually that thing on say for me YouTube.
This is the one.
It's the two Johnnies, but your man, that's Larry Gorman that was on there
we
absolutely brilliant.
We played that last week on the show.
Did you? Oh yeah.
About the GPS and the dog.
Yeah. And 1 shilling and 5 pints on the way home.
He said, Jesus, Johnny, you're Superman. You're back on the team.
Oh, that's unreal.
I swear, that was very, very good. But anyway, next weekend we'll be hurling next weekend and next Monday. Well, I suppose on paper, but as my club said, Joe, there's no match played on paper, they're played on grass. But on paper, you would fancy Cork and Limerick for a double next Sunday, you know, on form. But strange things have happened in the game of hurling. As you said, if a player gets injured, particularly a marquee player, it does upset the team. They're only human beings after all, you know.
Well, and it's not just the player himself. You know what he brings to the team.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever played in a match where you've seen a player get a serious injury, and psychologically, it does you in for a while, and some players never recover from it. You know, the team have just seen it happen, and they've been. I mean, these guys are on the training field together. They're on the playing field together. They're in the showers together. They're hanging out together. And you see something like that happen in the middle of a match, and it knocks the star out of you for a bit. And it takes a good thing to strength of character to come back from it, to put it to one side and be able to come back from it. So, but having said that, these guys are top players, and they can get over stuff like that.
Of course, Limerick have a new captain this year, John. Cian Lynch.
Cian
Lynch is captain this year.
He is captain, yeah.
Yes.
Captain this year. I think well deserved.
Is he in Patrick's well, man?
He is.
Yes.
He's been a well top performer for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And absolutely brilliant. He's Donald referred to him as a magician, and he's that. He does he seems to have this extra second, like every great player in any sport. He seems to have vision. He knows what's going on behind him, in front of him, to every
Yeah.
side. He rarely puts a ball in the wrong place.
And that comes from playing familiarity with the players. He knows where they are going to be and where they should be, and he passes the ball without looking. You
He
know,
does, yeah. And he does these crazy things like tapping it up off the ground while he's in full flight. And
Yeah.
he's still, I mean, this point he scored a couple of years ago down in Cork in the first round of the championship on his knees and
Yeah.
from about 50 yards out, straight over the bar. Unreal.
That's right. Yeah, and he will. Of course, Cork will be coming down to Limerick this year in the championship. Yeah.
And hopefully we'll also get to meet you in the Munster final.
Well, oh yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
So that's kind of that's an interesting system that they've got in place. So you play Cork in the qualifying rounds.
Yeah, the top two
you could meet them in the Munster final.
You could meet him in the quarter final you could meet him in the All Ireland final again.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could meet 3 times this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit of an anomaly. All right, yeah.
Well, it's better than the old days. I remember, probably, John, you remember as well when we were young players. And Limerick would lose against Cork and Tipperary.
Yeah.
And then they were out with the chance to come back.
There was no
And that's when Cork and Tip were great.
Well, the time that Christy Ring and John Dyer were playing, you had one match, and if you lost it, you were gone till next year. You had to wait 12 months again for your revenge, as they say. You know,
right?
Incredible.
So in some ways it's a good thing, but it's very hard to beat a team 3 times in a season.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Oh yeah, but again, you can afford to lose one and come back. You know, this is the thing. You could afford to lose 2 and ultimately win the All Ireland.
Yeah,
you could. You could lose. Yeah.
Or you could lose 3, God forbid. But
well, in Leinster, then you have Kilkenny, Galway, and you have Dublin, Carlow, and or Offaly and Carlow. There's a few teams, but the three teams to come through, according to some of the pundits, and are Kilkenny, Wexford, Kilkenny, Galway, and there's a lot of them favouring Offaly over Wexford. But I don't know, Wexford are a good team, you know.
Yeah. When Chin is playing with Wexford and he's playing well, they're a different team. Again, a great player. Like, I mean, so many games often depend on your great player to stand up, and he invariably stands up.
Lee Chin has been an outstanding player for the last 10 years, you know.
Forever, yeah.
He's fantastic.
He gives everything every day, and he's as strong as a bull. He
can play anywhere.
Yeah, he puts himself out. He's fantastic on it.
There's been a few retirements from the team, but I think they have a great spirit in the team as well, you know.
Yeah,
that's what's good. But
a big contributor to the whole thing is their manager, because he was a very good player himself and a Western man.
You must forget Owen Cody as well. He's a brilliant player.
Yes.
In the forwards, you know, he's mercurial. You know.
And
there we are.
A lot of good players. So Wexford will be hard to beat. But again, Offaly are coming. And Dublin, I mean, Dublin this year should be backboned by...
Dublin's first game in the championship is against Offaly.
Yeah.
That'll be a humdinger.
It
both teams are fancying their chances, you know. Anyway,
because Dublin are backboned by the team that are after winning the Club All Ireland.
Next Monday when we're back here, who'll be smiling? I don't know who'll be smiling, but I hope I will be anyway, you know. And John will be as well, I'm sure.
Depending on your backing.
we've come to the end of the show, lads. It's great having you, John and Joe again, and we'll be back here. Next Monday is Easter Monday. We'll be back here full of Easter eggs, full of beans for next Monday night.
Right.
And hope you enjoyed the gig, and we'll see you again next Monday. And thanks very much for your time, lads. Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Good night, lads. Take care.
Good night, Joe. Take care.